Baseball's back. We've got WBC starting in a week, or about March 7-ish, 6 or 7. And, the new rules, listen, I'm not so much against the new rules if it just creates more baseball. And what I mean by that is I'm already seeing some games with 20 strikeouts, 18 strikeouts. On average, I'm seeing more than 12 strikeouts a game. But I'm not going to go off of spring training. Half of those players won't be on the team. Some of these guys are going back to Double-A, so they're certainly not going to give you as many quality and productive at-bats as in the regular season. It's the regular season guys that worry me, and it's more about contact with 2 strikes, putting balls in play. Analysts the last 10 years have said things like base running, bunting, hit and running, and putting balls in play with 2 strikes. Are not relevant. And so you can't say, hey, we're going to do these pitch clock things and, we're going to do the batter stepping in the box. If the batter's going to have the same lousy mentality, he's going to be selfish with 2 strikes. So I think when I'm coaching, whether it's 8-year-olds to 18-year-olds, the reason I steal so much is that I'm not creating action for the fans. I don't feel defense is as strong as it was 20 years ago. And I think it's an art form that at the lower levels you can exploit. I can expose you, whether if, I'm going to say like 8 out of 10 catchers that I face, 17U baseball, they're not throwing a lot of us out. Even my slowest guy in the team can steal second regularly. And, if he gets the right jump. And that falls upon me. I have to teach you how to get jumps. I have to teach you, if a right-handed pitcher, as soon as he lifts his leg, you got to go. You got to go. I mean, they're just, you got to put your head down and run. I mean, there's certain old style things that are still relevant in any baseball game. But I just think as you approach the major leagues and now someone is telling you, dude, don't worry about your batting average. We're still going to pay you $30 million a year to hit 220 as long as you get 35 home runs and drive in 80. That's all we need, On base percentage, it's never going to go out of style. You know why? Because I need base runners to score runs. I need you to draw walks. So having a 350 or above on base percentage is huge. So I don't know how any of this stuff is relevant with a pitch clock. You're telling me that speeding up the pitcher on the mound, which, by the way, I'm teaching my guys to work in a good pace to keep my infielders and outfielders into the game. Outfielders, man, I was an outfielder. I used to just look around all the time like, God, I'm so bored out here. I'm all by myself in center field. What am I supposed to do? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at that butterfly. There's not a lot of action going on in the outfield, especially if you have a good pitcher on the mound. Same thing with my middle infielders and my infielders. I've got their feet moving on every pitch. It's a constant thing that I'm saying. Move your feet, move your feet, move your feet, because you can't get stationary. If you get stationary, you get back on your heels, you make errors. There's just real certain things that go along with baseball that I could sit here and talk about it all day, because this is what I'm teaching to all of my players. And, I know the other coaches, because I play against good coaches around Connecticut and New England. And then we go down to Ripken and you see some really well-coached kids from around the country. So the coaching is there. It's by the time you get, and talking to Jim Penders, he's looking for these type of particular kids, unselfish kids that'll put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Because if you put pressure on the defense, good things are going to happen. Guys try to make heroic plays. Guys try to, throw you out going first to third instead of just keeping the batter at first base. The big thing that I teach constantly is don't let that tying or go-ahead run reach second base because you're trying to throw a guy out that you have no chance to throw out at the plate. So when I see, like, with 2 outs, you throw a ball and not even close to home plate from the outfield, I get ticked, because the right play is throw it to second base, keep the guy who just got the base hit at first, and if there's 1 out, it keeps the double play in order. Just real simple stuff that I think that if we would adhere to at the highest levels, minor league and major league, it would create more action. Now you've got guys on base with 2 outs. Now I'm trying to steal. You know why? Because if he throws it into center field and he gets to third base, I'm 1 pass ball away from tying or going ahead if it's a 1-run game. Those are the things that I'm constantly stressing with my guys, and I've won so many more games in the last few years by putting runners in motion. But it's also it falls upon me to teach it to guys to try to run in breaking ball counts. Don't just run when you get on base to run. You get on base and you try to pick the correct pitch to go on. There's so many different things that are relevant with this conversation. So just saying I'm for or against pitch clock, I could care less about the pitch clocks. You're not discussing the things that are failing in the major leagues, and that is batting average. That is way too many strikeouts with 2 strikes. Yeah. Guys just don't care because I get paid more by the home runs and the RBIs than I do with the batting average, and I think it's misleading. But still, Aaron Judge got $350 million. Jeff McNeil won the batting title, and he got 50. And that's to me, that's relative to what the mentality is with these analytics people. That's more important at the major league level right now.
Kurt's got a call. Kurt, who you got?
We got Joe Furey on the line, guys.
Joe!
Hey!
I'm sorry I was going off. I didn't know you're calling in talking about something that's you're the expert
No,
on.
I want to know what Joe thinks. Joe, what do you think about pitch clocks? What do you think about the new rules of baseball?
I don't know. The pitch clock. I'm not getting it. I don't understand it. I do know that I get it right about 3 out of 10 times, and I don't make that kind of money.
You are the best. Damn, man, you're a Hall of Famer in the MLB.
My guy, Joe Furey. The Rob Dibble Show meteorologist, Joe Furey. All right, now, also, are you related to the Furies of Tyson Fury and Tommy Fury, and were you celebrating the big boxing win over the weekend?
You know what's funny? Tyson Fury and I follow each other. He followed me, and then I followed him.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Nice.
I love Tyson. He's a great guy.
Talking to Joe Furey from WTNH, and you can go to WTNH.com to get all the latest updates.
Joe, what's going to happen tonight, man? Everybody's trying to scare us. Give us the straight dope. What do you think's going to happen with the weather?
Well, you talk about the clock running out on winter. I mean, here we are heading in to tomorrow is the last morning of meteorological winter. When we take a look at the winter of 2022, 2023, as far as the temperature goes, tomorrow is the last day. So that's very interesting in the sense that obviously it's going to come in as one of the warmer winters on record. And, of course, as far as snowfall goes, if you take it from astronomical winter, December 21st, until now, not only at the shoreline, but even up at Bradley, there has not been one day since the first official day of winter where we've had 1 inch or more of snow up at Bradley, which is amazing. So we'll do that, obviously, come tomorrow morning. We have snow arriving between about 8 and 10 p.m. this evening. So if you're out and about this evening, up until 7, 8 o'clock, you're doing just fine. And don't be surprised if it starts out as a little bit of wetness, a little rain, a little mix. Comes down hard toward and after midnight, 3 to 6 inches by dawn. Schools are going to be closed. If you have to travel tomorrow morning, you got to allow lots of extra time. You got to slow it down. It's a little wetter snow at the coast, a little more fluffy inland. And, you're talking about during the day tomorrow, still some periods of snow, an additional 1 to 3 inches. So we're talking 4 to 9 inches across the region. And that'll be our biggest snowstorm since back on December 11th, when we thought it was going to be a crazy winter with lots of snow, and that didn't work out very well.
But temperature-wise, Joe, tell me about how it's going from like 60 to 20 and 60 to 20 and why we're getting such a drastic change. I mean, 45 and 30s is not a bad differential, but when it's like 65 one day, 70, and then all of a sudden it's like 16, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And when you look at what happened to us back about just over 3 weeks ago with that just unbelievable shot of cold that really came down from Greenland. And it went from -9 on the thermometer on Saturday morning at Bradley to 51 the following afternoon, which we think is a record as far as, you're talking about crazy swings in temperature. So, yeah, that's a great example right there. But what's happening is we had a really strong negative North Atlantic oscillation. That means a big blocking pattern up in Greenland where the cold comes across Canada and it can't keep going east and it gets forced down into the lower 48. Back in early December, that was the pattern we had. It was strong. It looked like we were setting up for a really bad winter. Everything totally changed. The big high-pressure ridge off the southeast coast, that's the Bermuda High, that started to build. The NAO went really positive. Everything changed out in the Pacific, and, of course, we ended up with epic amounts of moisture, 40 to 50 feet of snow in the mountains of California, and some places out there in California ended up with 40, 50 inches of rain, and they just got hit hard in Southern California again over the course of the weekend. That storm is coming this way. That's the one that's bringing us the snow for tonight and tomorrow. But, yeah, these temperature changes have been crazy. I will tell you, January was March. The average temperature for this past January, one of the warmest on record in 118 years, top 3. This March is going to be colder than January was. So that's the mentality, the mindset you have to have. Even though it's going to get up to 50 degrees again on Thursday and melt a lot of the snow that we have. We have another storm the end of the week. That's going to be a real wintry mess Friday afternoon and Friday night.
So me and about 14 of my high school friends are going to go tear up Manchester Country Club with some sleds, and sleds aren't as cheap as they've ever been right now because we haven't had any snow. Is it worth it to buy some sleds, or is this snow going to all be melted in the next couple of days?
You know what? You want to get out there tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day to do it. Wednesday it'll still be sticking around. Thursday it'll just turn into a mess. Keep in mind, the ground's not frozen, so underneath is mud. So that's all we've been. We've been muddy all winter long. So, we have, the shot of snow here, which is great for the kids to get them out and doing stuff, including yourself. But then it's going to be, just warming right back up on Thursday. Goes back down Friday. The idea for March is going to be up and down. Rob, as you said, it's going to be, it's more of the same. We're going to get probably more frequent cold shots in here as we go through March, but nothing unusual. Temperatures are probably going to be about average for March, maybe a little bit below average. But what that simply does is it makes it colder than what January was, which was about 9.5 degrees above normal.
I know the mayor can talk to Chuckles, the
can bring this up
groundhog, yeah. But can you speak groundhog?
I can speak. Leave me alone. Let me go back in my hole. What am I doing out here?
Now, we have a controversy with groundhogs in America right now, Joe. Now, our groundhog, Chuckles, says early spring, but that jerk over there in Puxatawny, old Phil, says long winter. Now, it's 2-1 Chuckles, according to the Rob Dibble Show statistics. Who is winning in your reports, and then who do you think is going to win overall once we get to March 20th?
Well, you know what? The problem with this year is that we didn't have winter, so you can't say that we've got 6 more weeks of winter. Simply because we didn't have winter yet. So saying that the spring is here, that's who wins because, even though we've got some snow and we've got some cold coming, January and February were very much March and April. That's what those 2 months were. Those are spring months. So the bottom line is spring is right around the corner.
That kind of non-winter, what does that do, Joe, for like farmers around here and upcoming in the spring?
That's a great question because I wonder, have the apple and peach trees taken a hit at all? We had a situation in February of 2016 where we got an Arctic blast like we did back a few weeks ago, and the peach trees had buds on them prior to that. And with all the warmth that we had, I just wonder if we have damage to the apple or peach trees around the state or anything else for that matter. As far as the ground goes, we had a lot of moisture in January. We haven't had a whole lot this month, but I think as far as the soil and the moisture goes, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape as we move along. But in terms of getting going here in springtime, just keep in mind Mother Nature evens the score. So if we have even just an average March and April, it's going to seem chilly to us.
All right, Joe, one more before we get you out of here. We've told everybody the bulk of everything is going to be tomorrow morning, really the overnight. You did say it was going to start between 8 and 10 o'clock here for our state. Now, it's a big high school basketball game tonight. I know a lot of games are going on all across the state, and some of these high schools have actually moved their games up and started a little bit earlier so they can get up and out and get all their fans up and out of there and home safe. What's your report once again for tonight in the roadways around Connecticut from 8 o'clock on?
Yeah, very good point. I think moving up is a great idea. This is one of these situations, guys, where it's going to come in and it's going to, really start to ramp up. And I think it's, going to be as we head in between the 9, 10 p.m. hour. Once you head just past 10 o'clock, the snow's coming down. It's going to accumulate. It's going to start making roadways slippery. So you hit 10 and beyond, it's going to deteriorate fast. So between 8 and 10, yeah, there can be some stuff coming on down, but the pavements are still fairly, not so bad, although we had problems on Saturday with that little coating of snow.
Yeah.
But, anytime you get past 9:30, 10 o'clock, that's when it's going to get real slippery and accumulate real fast, and it's going to be a real winter wonderland. Tomorrow morning, schools will be closed, and, again, go slowly, please. Just slow it down and allow lots of extra time, and everybody will be fine.
There you go. Joe Furey, we love having you on. Thank you, my brother, and be safe out there tonight.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, guys, pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Joe Furey, everybody. Meteorologist from chief meteorologist from WTNH. And we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We did not talk about Manny Machado adding another 6 years onto his contract. We'll discuss
and like
that
300+ million.
Well, no, he was already getting $30 million a year. They just added 6 years to it. So now it's 350, but it's not. They didn't up the annual. They just kept. They're going to keep paying him for 11 more years.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, good for him. He got paid. So we'll talk about that as well. Dibbles and Bits is next, and then Rant Bracket. Some bracketology of our own coming up at 5 o'clock.
From the